What happened in Minneapolis this week has shocked the nation, and ignited a fierce debate that reaches far beyond one city block. A 37-year-old mother, a poet, a beloved neighbor, was killed during a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement operation, and now voices from Hollywood to Main Street are demanding answers, justice, and even sweeping change. This is the story of Renee Nicole Good and the moment that made millions across America ask, are any of us truly safe? RollingStone.com. Main story, what happened? On January 7, 2026, in South Minneapolis, federal ICE agents were carrying out what officials describe as a large enforcement action, part of a broad immigration operation. At around 9:30 a.m., a woman later identified as Renee Nicole Good was in her SUV on Portland Avenue when officers approached. Video later released, including body cam footage, showed orders being shouted, confusion, and a sudden escalation. Moments later, one agent fired 3 shots into Good's vehicle, striking her in the head. She was rushed from the scene but succumbed to her injuries. Wikipedia. The Department of Homeland Security defended the shooting, calling it an act of self-defense, saying the vehicle was being used as a weapon and that the ICE officer feared for his life. Government officials, including DHS leaders, echoed that narrative in press briefings. Wikipedia. But the footage and witness accounts paint a more complicated, and deeply troubling, picture. Videos reviewed by multiple outlets show the SUV moving in a way that could be perceived as an attempt to leave the situation, and there is no clear sign the officer was struck or gravely endangered. Those images have ignited fierce national debate. Wikipedia. WHO was Renee Good. Renee Good wasn't a violent criminal or an extremist. She was a 37-year-old U.S. citizen, a devoted mother of 3, a poet and writer who had won literary recognition, and someone who had moved to Minneapolis to build community and raise her children. Friends and family described her as compassionate, gentle, and deeply connected to her neighbors, far from what federal statements labeled her. People.com. This tragic moment, just moments captured in a flash, has shattered lives and raised urgent, emotional questions about how federal force is used in American communities. Fan and public reactions. Across the country, reactions poured in, and they were deeply divided. In Minneapolis, protests and vigils grew daily, with demonstrators demanding accountability and shouting, "Justice for Renee." Hundreds marched in streets, and local leaders publicly condemned the shooting as reckless. New Hampshire Public Radio. Minnesota's mayor blasted the government's justification, calling it bulls, and declaring that federal agencies may have crossed a line that endangers civilians rather than protects them. People.com. On late-night television, celebrities like Jimmy Kimmel spoke out, calling the shooting a grim reflection of a lost baseline of decency in American justice and policing. Comedian John Mulaney even postponed his Minneapolis shows, saying that performing amid such grief didn't sit right. IMDb.com. U.com. And in a powerful social media statement, a well-known 4-time Golden Globe nominee publicly demanded that ICE be abolished, warning that none of us are safe under the current system and urging artists and the public to raise their voices every day until real change happens. UK.news.yahoo.com. That line, "None of us are safe," has now become a rallying cry across protests and platforms, capturing both fear and resolve in the wake of this tragedy. Emotional moments and reflection. Behind all the headlines and political reactions are 3 children who lost their mother. A wife who witnessed the final moments and has expressed profound sorrow and self-blame. And a community shaken to its core, in a city still scarred by past confrontations with law enforcement, where the memo. What happened in Minneapolis?